Magandang araw po sa mga masusugid na taga-subaybay ng All About Vision. Ako po ang inyong ophthalmologist at host, Dr. Raul Henson, at nandito po tayo ngayon sa Klinika Henson Eye, Nose and Throat Center dito po sa Angeles City, Pampanga. Tampok sa ating episode ngayon ng ating pambansang bayani, si Dr. Jose Rizal. Ito ang unang bahagi ng two-part series tungkol sa buhay, edukasyon, pagmamahal sa bayan ng pinakaunang European-trained ophthalmologist sa buong Pilipinas at maging sa Southeast Asia sa katauhan ni Rizal. Dito lang po sa All About Vision, your ITV and more. Welcome sa All About Vision. I'm your host, Dr. Raul Henson. Ang unti-unting paglabo ng paningin ng kanyang ina at ang pagnanais na gamutin ito ang nagtulak kay Dr. Jose Rizal para magsanay sa ophthalmolohiya. Sa huling bahagi ng 19th century, ang ophthalmology ay tinuturing na isang separate specialty na. Nagsilbi bilang assistant ni Louis de Wecker si Rizal noong November 1885 hanggang February 1886. Sa mga panahong iyon, nasaksihan ni Rizal ang modified cataract at strabismus surgery, ang makabagong paraan ng enucleation at ang pagsusulong sa sclerotomy bilang treatment sa glaucoma. February 1886 nang lumipat ng Heidelberg si Rizal. Sa loob ng 6 na buwan ay naging assistant siya ni Otto Becker, ang author ng Anatomy of Normal and Diseased Lens. Naging matunog ang pangalan ni Rizal dahil sa kanyang galing at kasanayan sa ophthalmology. Alamin ang ibang pang-interesting facts kay Dr. Jose Rizal bilang isang ophthalmologist. Manatili lang po kayong nakaantabay. Lahat pong yan ay ating pag-uusapan sa pagbabalik ng All About Vision, your ITV and more.
Henson Eye, Ear, and Nose Throat Center, located at 066 MacArthur Highway, Angeles City. You can contact them at 045-888-0411 or 045-625-2525.
We're back in my show, All About Vision, your ITV and more. I am Dr. Raul Henson, your host. Our topic for our episode for today is a little bit different from the others because it's about our national hero, Jose Rizal, who is actually an ophthalmologist. We're gonna talk about his life, his training, why ophthalmology, and we're gonna have also a second episode regarding his practice in ophthalmology here in the Philippines. To talk about our topic is a very prominent ophthalmologist, a good friend of mine. She's the president and founder of the Eye Bank Foundation of the Philippines, and is a clinical professor, assistant clinical professor, associate professor of the University of the Philippines in the Philippine General Hospital. Our guest is Dr. Mingita Padilla. Hi, yes. Mingita. Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you, Raul. My pleasure.
Okay, we'll get the ball rolling right away because our time is short.
Yeah.
Let's show our first slide. No? Dr. Rizal is an ophthalmologist. No? But before we go into ophthalmology, in his ophthalmology as an ophthalmologist, I want to talk about first Rizal himself. No? We talk about Rizal as Rizal, but his father's name is Mercado.
Yes.
Why Rizal?
That's a good question, Raul, because first of all, Jose Rizal was a descendant of a Chinese. Domingo
Okay.
Lamco. Then later on, because they were merchants and to prevent all this discrimination by the Spaniards, they changed their name to Mercado.
Mercado.
Yes, to reflect that they were merchants. Okay?
Oh, okay.
Now, during the 1849, the Governor General said, we have to change all your names again. Okay, so the father of Rizal chose Rizal, which reflected
The father of?
Rizal at the time, Mercado.
Mercado,
No?
okay.
They added Rizal to their family name, no? To reflect the green of the corn. Again, no? The plantations.
Okay.
But it was very messy, very confusing. So he went back to Mercado. So in order to make things easier, he dropped the Rizal altogether in most of his dealings and used Mercado. Rizal Mercado, the
So-
father of Rizal.
Okay, that's the father of
Yes.
Rizal.
Now, when Rizal was a student already, and he was about to go to school, his parents and his older brother, Pasiano, they decided he should use Rizal and not Mercado. Why?
Why?
Okay, we go to the martyrs, Gomez,
Gomburza.
Burgos, and Zamora. Pasiano Rizal, the older brother of Rizal, was very much associated with these three. Especially Padre Gomez.
Associated meaning they're
he
really
he was the teacher.
personally-
Yes, no,
yeah.
he was the mentor and teacher of Pasiano.
Wow.
And even at that age, Pasiano was already, he had all these thoughts about patriotism, love of country, which were considered subversive to the Spanish authorities, especially the friars, the Dominicans.
exactly.
And they wanted to dissociate Rizal from that. Because Pasiano was already being watched, even then. So they thought by naming Rizal and not Mercado, he could be free from that stigma of being associated with these martyrs.
Okay.
Little did they know that Rizal, the name Rizal, would be more controversial in the
Okay.
future than Mercado.
So that's why
Yes.
his name became...
He dropped Mercado altogether and used Rizal.
So
It
what
was
did
to
the father
protect
say?
him. No, it's the father's decision.
Ah, it's
also,
the father's
the
decision.
family decided he was the second boy. There
Okay.
were only two boys.
Okay.
11 children. No?
So now Rizal has his name.
Rizal,
Now,
yes. He
Jose
resented
Rizal.
it, by the way.
Okay. Now we go to the next slide, which is her mother.
Oh, yeah.
What
his
is his
mother.
influence with his mother?
The mother was his first teacher.
First teacher.
And they said that she was the one who gave him, this love of reading. Culture, because she came from a very cultured family.
And they said that Rizal came from a rich family.
They were landed. They were sugar plantation
plantation
owners, no?
okay.
Not really owners. They were leasing land from the Spaniards. So they were hacenderos in their
Okay.
own right, but they did not own the land per se. They were leasing. So they had money and they had a comfortable life.
Okay.
And his mother, they were from Binyan, Laguna, very, very learned. In fact, Rizal's family had a huge library. They owned about 1,000 books.
So he read most of the time.
That's why he loved books more than anything else. Even later on in life, when he was a student, he was hungry many times, no money. He would rather sell his ring. He would rather go hungry than sell a book. Talagang
So
Rizal was
let's
like
go
that.
to the next slide.
Yeah.
That's Rizal at 18.
Yes.
That means at 18 he might be either in college here or just
He was already, yes, in college. No,
college.
yes.
But where did he go to high school? Was there
No.
high school during that time?
Yeah, he went first to school in Binyan. He was privately tutored. Then he went to Ateneo.
Ateneo.
He went to the Ateneo.
For college.
Well,
or
no,
college,
not for college.
or
It's like what we would think of it as high school here.
school here.
But there was no real high school.
high school.
But he went to the UST, University of Santo Tomas, for his college to get a degree. But he did not go there for medicine. He went there for land surveyorship, for agriculture, and for philosophy and arts. Medicine was not his first love.
It's
It was
more-
he really loved the land.
Land. In fact, he has
surveyorship,
insects named
agriculture.
after him.
Well, he was, by heart, he loved the land. He was also an anthropologist by heart. And he took philosophy and letters. It was only when his mother started to go blind from cataracts that he decided to become a doctor. So that he could
First.
become a doctor or take up medicine in UST so he could become an ophthalmologist.
So he took up medicine in UST.
Yes, he
Did he
started.
finish?
Not in UST.
Yes,
He went.
exactly.
He did not finish in UST because, according to him, the friars, the priests were, they did not treat him very well. He felt, no? And,
So it's starting to brew.
It's starting to brew. And, even as a young boy, he and his brother, Pasiano, already harbored in their hearts. I'd like to use the word harbored because as far as the authorities were concerned, the Spaniards, it was like harboring these illegal or unwanted thoughts and sentiments about country. Another thing you have to know about Rizal, and I think it is a driving force in what he became. When he was a very young boy, he was living in Binyan, Laguna with his uncle. Okay?
Who's the uncle now again?
Alberto.
Okay.
Alberto Alonso.
Okay.
Okay. They were very wealthy, as I said, and very learned and very cultured. One of the guests of his uncle was the Governor General of Hong Kong at the time. Went to visit. And one of the things he told them about, and Rizal was listening, was that there was a book called Sucesos de Filipinas, written by De Morja. in the 1600s. That book documented what the Philippines was like when the Spaniards came. And the book showed that the Philippines had a very sophisticated civilization, had culture, we had industry, we had trading. In other words, we were not primitive the way the Spaniards were trying to portray us.
Okay.
That stuck in Rizal's mind. And he said, but where is this book? We don't know where the copies are. There were very few copies left, and it was banned from being read by the Filipinos. So it stuck in Rizal's mind. And he said he made a point when he became an adult, one day I will find the book. And he did. This is very important. And later on in life, when he was banished from the Philippines, he went to England and he found,
He went to England.
He found the book.
He found the book.
And he copied the book word for word and published it. First as is in Spanish and published it. That book was later reproduced into the volumes that became known as The History of the Filipino People by Blair and Robertson. That is one of the most extensive descriptions of Philippine culture and history prior to the Spaniards.
So it was due to Rizal.
Rizal
because he
also,
found the book.
yes.
Okay.
And he copied it word for word in England. That was when he was banished the second time he went to Europe. Yeah.
But going back to medicine, where did he finish medicine?
In Madrid.
In Madrid.
In Madrid. Again, this is another controversial thing. He finished his licensure. He got his licensure in medicine from Madrid, Central University of Madrid. However, he never completed his doctorate.
Okay,
See?
but he finished his medicine.
Yes, and he could practice already.
Okay.
Based on the rules of the time, he could practice. But to get a doctorate, you had to present a thesis orally. But since he was always short of money, and he needed to become an ophthalmologist fast, he went to Madrid, he went to Paris, and then to Germany. He completed his thesis, he mailed it to Madrid, hoping they would consider it.
As a doctorate.
But they said, no, you have to present it orally.
So he went back.
He did not go back anymore. He had no money to do that, and he was rushing to go back to Manila. To the Philippines, rather. So he never got
that's the
his
story
doctorate.
short. No doctorate.
Yes, that's why maybe that's where that myth comes from, or that misconception that he was not a doctor. See, because
but basically he's a doctor of medicine.
Yes, he finished medicine, but they call it a licentiate in medicine. During that time, you could practice medicine simply with a licensure or licentiate. But he did not complete his doctorate.
Okay. So he went to Ateneo, went to UST, went to
Madrid.
And then we'll take a break.
Yes.
Our next 8 minutes or so will be about his training in ophthalmology. Okay. So that was fast, huh? So for the audience, don't go away. We'll have a little break.